Whilst Chaos Cultists are amongst the most affordable units you can field in Warhammer 40,000, arming 1 in 10 of their number with heavy stubbers can prove to be somewhat of a challenge. With only scarce few commercially available heavy stubber models, and the price of heavy stubber cultists from the Dark Vengeance set reaching as high as £15 in online auctions, it quickly becomes a sizable expense to field a properly equipped horde of autogun wielding cultists. In this conversion guide, we will show you how to convert your own heavy stubber cultists for a fraction of the cost of those found on online auction sites. We will be basing this conversion on a model from the same set of 5 easy to assemble cultists available in hobby stores everywhere. The 3 Chaos Cultists armed with autoguns are the best equipped models out of the box, and seeing as no one wants to see those sweet autoguns go to waste, we won't be using these models in our conversion. Instead, we'll be focusing our efforts on the lowest common denominators of the Chaos Cultists, the auto pistol guys. We chose to use the gas mask guy because his torso is formed of a single plastic component, onto which we'll be placing a set of flamer arms from the Cadian Shock Troopers kit. We then simply swap out the flamer for a heavy stubber from the Imperial Light Armature kit, giving it a brand new heavy stubber cultist. First, we must remove his arms. We find one comes away all by itself, leaving a nub that can be trimmed away later in our conversion. Removing his close combat arm, however, will require an accurate cut through the thick plastic of the shoulder. Although it may seem straightforward enough to simply cut the arm away at the shoulder in a single snip, we may cause unintentional harm to the torso should we make such a wide cut. Instead, we should cut away at the arm just above the elbow, freeing up room beneath the shoulder and allowing for a cleaner cut. Make a single cut beneath the shoulder with the flat side of your plastic cutter facing into the model. This will provide a level surface for mounting the arms. Cut away the 2 ammo packs closest to the shoulder, as they occupy space required for the arm. Next, we'll be dealing with the aforementioned nub. Snip the nub away completely, and you will notice that the shoulder has a slight overhang. Smooth this shoulder off with the flat edge of your plastic cutters, leaving the model with 2 empty shoulder sockets. Now let's work on the Cadian Shock Trooper's right arm. Before we can access the part of the flamer's receiver that we need to cut, we must cut away at the hose on the underside of the receiver, as well as the satchel located on the underside of the arm. Once you cut past the strap, you can then line up the main cut through the flamer. Line up your cut so it reveals the trigger gripping hand at the rear end of the flamer. Clip away the remaining parts of the strap attached to the inside of the shoulder, so that the arm sits level against the shoulder socket when it comes time to assemble your model. Remove what little remains of the Aquila, then smooth off any rough edges on the arm joint. Our trigger gripping arm now ready for the next step, we'll be tackling the heavy stubber. To attach the heavy stubber to the flamer arm, we'll be pinning them together with a small length of paperclip. But before we can pin anything, we must remove the nub, the rear end of the barrel, and any other excess bolt left over from the underside of the receiver. The flatter the underside of the heavy stubber, the better. We want to slim down its profile as much as possible. With the rear end of the receiver now flattened off, the heavy stubber can be lined up against the pistol grip. We are now ready to begin pinning. Prep the rear end of the heavy stubber with a sturdy file, then score a central hole just above the halfway mark. Time to bring out the hand drill and get cranking. Apply a small amount of superglue to the pin. Then insert the pin into the rear of the receiver. When it comes to trimming your pins down, try not to cut them too short. While the pin I cut will provide some mooring, this pin really should have been cut to a length of 2mm to ensure a better hold. With that minor goof aside, we begin to prepare the pistol grip by filing the surface smooth, scoring out a place for the pin vise, and drilling out a place for the pin. Then apply some superglue to what little remains of the pin. Take the 2 halves of your new heavy stubber, then smash them together in triumph. After checking that the pistol grip and the receiver are correctly aligned, we can now move on to modifying the left arm. The dowel in its hand will be replaced by a longer pin, but first, it must be snipped away. While plastic snips make short work of this next step, be careful when it comes to scoring out a starting hole for your pin vise. Try to preserve your model's thumbs by taking the time to correctly align your drilling angle, and take care not to drill the hole too deep. You don't want your drill to go all the way through their hand. Apply a dab of superglue to the end of a straight length of paperclip, then insert this into the hand on the left arm. After cleaning away any excess glue with a cocktail stick, we are now left with an anime-scaled piece of rebar. Cut away all but a centimetre of this pin, and then demonstrate a catastrophic lapse in depth perception while attaching the left arm to the cultist's shoulder. erase all memory of this travesty with a cocktail stick, and then move back onto the heavy stubber. When choosing the correct spot for the handle to connect to the heavy stubber, some may opt to connect the handle high up on the receiver, so that the heavy stubber cultist will not have the nasty surprise of having spent casings and hot gases being spewed out all over their left arm. But as followers of the Chaos Gods, we are not subject to the Imperium's health and safety laws. This is of little concern to us. With the arms fitting nicely to the torso, it is now time to attach the enormous box magazine to the heavy stubber. To do this, apply a small amount of glue to the receiver and then simply slot the magazine in place, making sure that it sits level with its surroundings. The last stage before our conversion is finished is to fill in any small gaps around the trigger grip and on the heavy stubber itself. We do this by mixing up a very small amount of green stuff and applying it to the gap directly. Something as simple as a cocktail stick can be used to gently persuade the green stuff into place. Once all the gaps have been smoothed away, our conversion is complete. With our shiny new heavy stubber cultist now fully assembled, it's surprising to think that the entire conversion only cost around £5 in total. The most expensive part for this conversion was actually the heavy stubber. These can be sourced from a number of other kits and put into similar conversions with ease. The heavy stubber from a Baneblade kit, for example, can be converted for use by a Chaos Cultist if combined with the receiver of Acadian Shot Trooper's grenade launcher. While we're on the topic of grenade launchers, the Blackstone Fortress Cultist of the Abyss set comes supplied with a grenade launcher wielding cultist. On first glance, he's totally useless, seeing as his primary weapon isn't even listed in the Chaos Codex. But if we were to cut away at the receiver, then install a heavy stubber onto the pistol grip, we would have yet another heavy stubber cultist at our disposal. You can find serviceable heavy stubbers from as far afield as out of production Necromunda, and if you're really struggling to source your own heavy stubbers, why not invest a few pounds into some plasticard and try making them for yourself. It's quick, cheap, rewarding, and gives you neat looking models in the process. And finally, our heavy stubber Chaos Cultist is complete. I chose to paint this Chaos Cultist in a fairly ambiguous colour scheme. Because of this, I will be able to field this cultist and about 100 of his friends in any Chaos Space Marines warband that I happen to be painting at the time, without them ever looking out of place. With this being a fairly simple and quick conversion to complete, it is easy to churn out multiple heavy stubber cultists in little time. Perfect for those of us with Chaos Cultist horde armies in need of some additional firepower. If you are interested in seeing more Warhammer 40,000 guides and other similar content from Warp Zone Games, please click the like button and subscribe.